you making a lot of logical decisions in your life and you find yourself not so happy or fulfilled? Well, today I'm going to share why this may be. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra special point for you then. Now, just before we start, I want to point out that I am slightly losing my voice, which isn't great for a podcast host. Hopefully, though, you can hear me clearly enough to understand the content I'm going to deliver in this episode. So let's get into it. So in my life, and I might have to push through this a little bit. In my life, I've done things which logically make sense. I've gone to school, got some good grades. I went to university, and then got a job, and then got another job, and kind of progressed through the career ladder. I had some savings and all these kind of things. And when I was just doing those things, there was a point when I realized how miserable I was, because it was just logic, right? That was a path my family had followed. That was generally the people around me were following these kind of paths. And often we conform with what's around us. That's what we do as human beings. We adapt to our surrounding environment. Yeah, just going purely logical may not necessarily make you happy. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't use logic at all. We're going to go into that in a minute. I'm just saying, if you're not listening to your emotions and your heart at all, then just going with logic and doing what you think is a sensible thing, when it's not actually sensible because it's not making you feel good, it can lead to perhaps a less fulfilling and happy life. And that's what happened to me when I got into my mid-20s. I was just in a job I just didn't like at all, and in a miserable environment. And I started following my interests, doing some things that are just getting curious, and started getting into my writing, into my personal growth. And then I started feeling more fulfilled, even though logically that it made no sense to. I followed it, and then I started doing more and more, like writing, coaching, podcasting, YouTubing, and I started to feel more alive, more aligned, because I just went with a feeling. Now, we're going to get into some points on how you can start living in a place that combines logic and feeling, so you get both of them. But how is it helping you by just going purely on logical, what you should do, rather than what you feel compelled to do? So before I get into these points, I just want to say that it's not a case of just purely going from just a gut feel, heartfelt, and your feelings. Those are great drivers, 100%, because there is some logic that comes into it. So, for example, an amazing deal or opportunity offer comes up for you, and it's like you honestly can't afford it without going completely broke, and it's really going to put peril into you. Then obviously you need to bring in some logic there. So maybe we'll look at this in 6 months to a year's time. Again, though, what I do see often when people, particularly being in sales and also in the coaching world, is people will try and use logic too much when actually they can do it. It's just going to make them a little bit uncomfortable, and that also that feeling they want to get away from. So you've got to combine both, a little bit of logic and driving from feeling. So obviously you feel like the urge to do something or shout something in front of people. Obviously use discretion. Like at a certain point, maybe you feel like, I just need to have a word. You're really angry with them. Or maybe you use logic a little, but you need to do something. But maybe it's not shouting at them in front of a room. Maybe it's taking them to another room and using logic there. So there is a role for both. Yeah, I want to say, if you use complete logic in all your decisions in life, for me, that doesn't lead to as much fulfillment. So here's some pointers for you, so you can start living a life that you start making decisions from not just logic, but how you're feeling as well. Number one, list all the things that make you happy, just as many as possible, just like as from a feeling. Okay. Number two, write down a list of things that don't make you feel so happy. Just be honest with it. And don't put logic in this. Like, you're just going to write them down. If you're like, well, I should like that thing, so maybe I should move it over. No. If you don't like something, you put it in the don't like list. Okay. Be honest with yourself, how you feel into it. So for me, when it's like doing creative stuff, I feel lit up. I feel excited, like making this podcast right now. When it's doing certain admin stuff, as much well, I think there's quite a lot of us, I'll be in the don't like column, even though I'll be like, oh, I should really like it. But it's like, no, I don't like it. Now, you do have to do some of the things you don't like. We'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, you can start off by making those 2 lists. The third thing, think logically how you can fit in more of the things that really light you up into your life. Like 3 things, 3 of the things that really make you energized and excited. How can you fit them into your life? Maybe it's 30 minutes earlier in the day you get up and you fit those in. Maybe it's an hour if you've had time. I know we're a lot stretched, but think about how you can squeeze them into your life. Okay, because that'll get you in the practice of going with things that make you feel good, and then you start making some decisions from there. And then the next thing is start thinking about how can you cut out some of the things that don't make you feel good, or reduce them or make them in a way that they're fun. So you can either 3 things, you're going to pick 3 things from your don't make you feel good, and you do one of 3 things to them. So you're going to say, how can I get rid of it completely? If that's possible, may not be. How can I reduce it? How can I reduce it? Or what's a way, if I have to do it, that I can make it fun, right? Maybe it's, for example, maybe it's getting someone else to do it. Maybe you're paying for it. Maybe it's like cleaning. You get someone to do your cleaning for you. Because you don't have to do it sometimes you do, obviously, depending on your financial situation. Or maybe it's something like a certain amount of admin. Maybe you get a new virtual assistant or something like that. And AI is starting to do wonders these days with things like I think it's Motion and that, where it can actually organize all your things for you. So those are the steps. So go through them again. Write a list of things that make you happy, not what you think should make you happy, what genuinely makes you happy and makes you feel good and energized. Second part, things that don't, not what, and again, if you think like, I should like this. No, if you don't like it, you put it in the second column. And then the next part is think logically, how can you get more of the things, 3 of the things that make you happy into your day more? And then the final point, how can you cut out 3 things that don't make you feel as good? So that's what I want to give you in terms of the points. I've got an extra bonus point for you as well. And just before that, I want to appreciate you for listening today. And if you want to come and hang out with me for more inspiration, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is @Johnny.Pardo. Link below. My final point is a very simple one, but get yourself a coach or someone to that quality, because they can really help you. I've had these conversations with coaches, even being a former coach myself, when you're talking with someone and they're able to actually they can pick up the blind spots and the things that perhaps you're trying to justify logically, but then actually they can, if they're a good coach, they'll start looking at your body language, the energy you're bringing to things, and they'll start catching you out in your patterns. And then that will help you become more aware of actually what feels good for you in your life and what doesn't. So that would be my extra point. Get yourself a coach. You can get some reasonable ones out there as well, reasonable prices as well. So that would be my suggestion, to invest yourself with a coach. So once again, you can hang out with me if you want to on Instagram. My handle is @Johnny.Pardo. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.